What's going on, guys? Super Savage 789 here, bringing you guys a video to doing What If Coby Became a Strawhat Part 3. In the last part, we covered from the Reverse Mountain arc all the way to the end of the Alabaster arc. Since that's a lot, I implore you to go and watch it, since I can't really summarize it here due to how long One Piece is and how I just have to go in depth with everything. It'll be really difficult, so just go watch that, give it a like, give me some more money, you know how it is. Let's get into today's video. Like in canon, our Straw Hats would head to Mocktown, which would go like normal. Having Coby here doesn't really change anything, so he'd probably just hang out on the ship. They would then meet Cricket, who would have his brief scuffle before being helped by the Straw Hats. Seeing Cricket's gun reignites something in Coby's mind as he asks to borrow said gun. It confuses everyone, and reluctantly, Cricket allows it. Coby would go off and begins to shoot the gun, using his observation hotkey to get a feel on how it moves and how it feels. He would then begin to replicate this with his finger. It means he'd be away from everyone else while looking for the Southbird. He would sense Bellamy and his crew showing up and knows it can't be good, especially because they're heading for Cricket. Coby is able to arrive using his Soru and tells Bellamy to leave. It makes everyone laugh as the shrimp is standing up to them. To prove a point, Bellamy rushes at Coby, who's able to counter using his imperfect Shigan by sensing where Bellamy is. Bellamy backs up with his wound, and so he and Coby begin fighting. Cricket and his goons are able to fight off Bellamy's men as Coby is able to hold off Bellamy long enough for the rest of the Straw Hats to arrive. Luffy uses a Gomu Gomu no pistol and knocks Bellamy out before tying him up and sending him out to sea with his men. Like in canon, they'd end up getting to Skypiea where they meet Konis and her father. Coby would be with everyone else when they're taken to the sacrificial altar. Zoro asks Coby if he can sense where Neru is so he can give him a visit. He would try to censor him, and while he can probably find him, he can't distinguish between people, at least from this distance, especially since he's never met them. Nevertheless, it's the best chance they have, so everyone leaves Chopper like in canon. Meanwhile, against Satori, the trio would all have a much easier time. Usopp will not only be stronger, but he's also able to deduce that this mantra power is the same power Coby possesses. It means that they're able to defeat Satori much quicker and continue moving with less injuries. With Coby leading the squad, he'd be heading to where the most people are, diverting where the gang originally went. They'd end up heading towards the Shandorian Camp. They would get there relatively quickly, with Zoro holding Robin and Coby holding Nami, allowing them to move much quicker. They'd arrive right as Wiper begins moving out his forces. The Shandians would assume these are men of Neru, while the Straw Hats assume the same about these guys. Zoro asks which one of them is Kami, confusing them all. Wiper would recognize these guys from the Blue Sea, and so he tells them they should leave. They explain how they can't leave, they have beef with Neru, with Nami pointing out how they can be allies. Wiper doesn't fully agree and acts quite hostile. He tells them that if they're able to fight, they should keep up. They'll explain on the way. Robin decides that she's going to go explore some more, as does Nami, since they aren't really combat people. So Coby and Zoro head off with Wiper. During this, they get an exposition dump about Neru and what he did, as well as about Mantra, finally giving Coby a name for this skill. It makes some of the Shandians trust these guys more due to Coby possessing this power, as well since they're helping. All the Straw Hats meet up on the Going Merry except for Zoro and Coby. After a night of rest, everyone would begin moving, like in canon. Luffy would inevitably run into Wiper alongside Zoro and Coby, with the duo sporting some Shandorian clothing and face paint. Since they are Wiper's allies, they tell Luffy to come with them, which he agrees to, moving to help fight in the war. Since they aren't wasting time and are moving together, the Shandorians are able to take care of more of Neru's men, using coordinated attacks. Coby would be using some dials to help him during this, by placing one on his chest to simulate how Tekai would work. He'd also have a flame dial on the soles of his feet to practice around Kaku. He would also have 2 jet dials on either hip to try and imitate Kamiye. They would keep moving around to Chopper fighting With Zoro and Wiper on the same side as well as Coby and Luffy being there, the fight is much more one-sided, especially when Luffy discovers what state Chopper is in. The massive snake also won't be there since Luffy wasn't eaten to cause it to rampage. This means the snake won't be present in the iron cage to cause chaos, meaning that Nami and Downfall can contribute in the fight. They quickly take out and break the cage, right as Neru shows up. Coby, Luffy, Zoro, Wiper, and Downfall would then begin to fight with the god. Since Coby can use Mantra as well as Neru, it allows for Coby to tell Luffy what to attack, allowing him to land more hits on Neru, which gets him beaten down much quicker. Wiper would see how they're going about fighting and gets an idea. He asks Aiza for her help, who reluctantly accepts. She hops on Wiper's shoulder and begins using her mantra, telling Wiper where to go. Since Neru isn't on his arc, he doesn't have any goal to limit Luffy, so Luffy beats him down even harder. As Neru goes for an escape, Wiper manages to get behind him and use the rejectile, which kills him like cannon. With how much Luffy disrupted his lightning, as well as how he's much more battle damage, I don't see a Nero reviving himself, and so this is where the main villain of Skype meets his demise. This might seem pretty dumb to you guys, but, you know, it does make sense to me, and if you disagree, it's perfectly fine. Just let me know in the comment section, we can have a good discussion about it. With the threat finally over, everyone begins resting easy as people all over begin celebrating over their oppression being over. There would be a huge party for our Straw Hats, where they're all praised and for what they did, and given dollars like in Canon. Coby would even get some tips about how to better use his mantra as a passive ability, which he is grateful for. As the Straw Hats are all preparing to return to the Grand Line, Coby would ask to speak to Robin alone. He questions her about the feeling he's getting from her, being that something impure and deceitful. She's hiding something. She should just tell them. What's the worst that can happen? Robin merely laughs it off and leaves, but Coby is still reluctant on her. They would return to the Grand Line after this, and we arrive at the Long Land arc. They end up meeting the Foxy Pirates and ultimately engage in the Davy Back fight. Coby would place into the boat race, be heart of the Davy Back fight with Usopp, Nami, and Robin. Before he begins, Coby tells Usopp that he has an idea and that they should do it together. When the boat race begins, both Coby and Usopp dive backwards into the water, confusing literally everyone watching. Nami almost has an aneurysm watching this stupidity, and Robin chuckles slightly at it. They then feel the boat rocking harder and more aggressively, until eventually it takes flight. Nami looks below to see Coby and Usopp both holding the boat, straining the muscles to hold it, as they use Geppo for flight. Robin would help by creating hands off of Coby and Usopp's arms, allowing them to hold it much easier. With ease, they soar over the entire competition and easily get through the finish line, with Foxy unable to use his various tricks. The Straw Hats would then take the Foxy Pirates flag and move along to the second round. This next fight would go different due to Chopper having not been stolen. This means he'd be stood there awkwardly in between the bickering teammates Sanji and Zoro. Chopper would of course immediately use a Rumble Ball as to even have a chance and tell Zoro and Sanji to focus as the fight begins. I think it'd be cool if Zoro began to wield Chopper as a sword due to the antler he possesses. They'd cut up their opponents and inevitably get the goal, though I doubt we'd get to see the teamwork between Zoro and Sanji that we did in Canon, which is a bummer, but hey, it happens. Due to the Straw Hats winning, they'd be able to pick who they want from the enemy team. Luffy would think about it and inevitably says no one, which makes the Foxy Pirates laugh, telling him he'll regret that. Then Luffy would fight Foxy and win just like in Canon, where again they say they don't want anyone, so the Foxy Pirates leave lucky. After this fight, they return to the Old Man, where they meet up with Aokiji. Seeing Aokiji sends chills down Kobe's spine. He literally can't move from the shock, as Usopp and Sanji have to carry him away from the conversation. Of course, Aokiji engages in combat, freezing some limbs of the monster trio. He would then go to freeze Robin, but Coby comes in, grabbing her and throwing her backwards, assuming a combat stance. Aokiji looks at the courage in Kobe's face and gets a weird inclination, asking if he was the boy who caused Smoker to divert. This shocks Coby that Smoker would leave the Marines and become a pirate. While in his inner monologue, Aokiji goes to freeze him, but with his mantra, he barely evades, becoming a popsicle, getting his right arm and leg frozen. Aokiji recognizes Coby as a worthy opponent and also recognizes his observation hockey. Luffy would come in and ultimately gets frozen, leading to the Straw Hats having to tend to him as well as the other three who are partially frozen. Here Robin also would be helping since she wasn't frozen, thanking Coby for her help. She asks why he'd risk his life like that and he merely says it's what a true hero would do. This leaves her shocked down to her core. But guys, that's going to leave it here. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. Subscribe in the next part. If you like this part, make sure you give it a like. It really does help out the channel. Let me know if you want to see more One Piece on the channel. If you love Coby being a Straw Hat, let me know down below. Let me know what you think you should learn on the time skip, who you should train with the time skip, and let me know what you think he's going to do during Water 7. And so yeah, bye!